Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Solo Sikoa kicked off tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown with an electric promo, where he vowed that after January 6th, he would still hold the Ulafala, be the tribal chief, and head of the table by defeating Roman Reigns in the tribal combat match. Drew McIntyre came out to confront Sikoa and his crew. Solo told the former World Heavyweight Champion that although he was happy with him punishing Jimmy USO last week, he had better have a good reason for interrupting him with his promo. In response, the Scottish Warrior asked Solo if he was wondering when McIntyre would come after him, following him destroying Zayn, Jay, and Jimmy. However, Drew McIntyre expressed that although he and Solo had history and some unfinished business, his current goals aligned with Sikoa's goal of annihilating Roman Reigns. Before they could reach any agreement, the furious Jimmy USO rushed out and launched an attack on McIntyre, punishing him for his recent actions. In a shocking turn of events, we may see an unpredictable end to the Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns tribal combat match on the premiere episode of Raw on Netflix, where the 39-year-old Drew McIntyre could cost the self-proclaimed tribal chief Sikoa his Ulafala and would indirectly help Reigns regain his position at the head of the table. Just as a refresher, the Street Champion joined the Bloodline at Clash at the Castle 2022 and cost Drew his opportunity to clinch the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Reigns. However, this is speculative at this point, and the fans have to wait and watch how this storyline progresses. Could the 39-year-old start a feud against Solo Sikoa on SmackDown? The upcoming year would mark an important year for the Stamford-based promotion, as Raw is officially moving to Netflix, and major stars like Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are rumored to be part of a stacked roster. However, to maintain fans' interest in SmackDown, Triple H needs to build some major storylines. With their history, Drew McIntyre vs. Solo Sikoa could be sold as a momentous storyline if written and produced well, and could help maintain fans' interest in the blue brand in the absence of some of the prominent players. It remains to be seen how the Triple H-led creative team plans for the upcoming year, especially on SmackDown. WWE had teased for weeks that the Netflix debut of Raw would be monumental. Speculation had run rampant, but no one could have predicted how things would unfold. Tribal combat, a concept rooted in Samoan heritage, had been scheduled to headline an upcoming SmackDown. Roman Reigns was set to defend his tribal chief status against his brother, Solo Sikoa, in a match that promised to be as personal as it was brutal. But what transpired on WWE's Raw shocked the world and added a jaw-dropping layer to the saga of the Bloodline. Raw's Netflix debut started with a cinematic flair, emphasizing WWE's collaboration with the streaming giant. A cold open showcased snippets of Roman Reigns' historic title reign, Solo Sikoa's silent but deadly rise, and Paul Heyman's consistent loyalty to the Bloodline. However, the most intriguing segment of the montage was a shadowy figure whose identity was obscured. The mysterious individual appeared to train in a private gym, surrounded by Samoan symbols and cryptic imagery. The seeds were planted. WWE was about to drop a bombshell. The narrative between Reigns and Sikoa had reached a boiling point. Roman's leadership had been questioned since Jimmy and Jey USO turned their backs on him earlier in the year. Solo Sikoa, once considered Roman's enforcer, had recently shown signs of rebellion. Tensions erupted when Solo, in a fiery promo, accused Roman of betraying their family's legacy. "I'm not here to follow you anymore, Yus. I'm here to protect what our bloodline truly stands for," Solo declared, holding his Samoan spike high as a symbol of his defiance. Paul Heyman, ever the weasel, looked torn, but his choice remained with Roman. Reigns responded with quiet intensity, warning Solo, "You may be my brother, but there's only room for one tribal chief. At tribal combat, you'll learn your place." As the feud escalated, WWE hyped tribal combat on SmackDown as a bout where only the strongest member of the Anoa'i family could emerge victorious. The stipulations were clear: no outside interference and no rules. However, on Netflix's Raw, just days before the match, everything changed. Roman Reigns opened the show with a rare appearance. He carried himself with an air of smug confidence, but there was an undercurrent of unease. Solo had proven to be his most formidable challenge yet, both emotionally and physically. After Roman cut a promo, declaring his impending victory, Sikoa interrupted. "You're not ready for what's coming, Roman. You're not ready for me," Solo said with menacing calm. The two exchanged heated words, but before a fight could break out, Paul Heyman intervened, his face pale with dread. "Gentlemen," Heyman stammered, "this family cannot be destroyed by outsiders or insiders. But there's someone who wants to ensure the legacy lives on." The lights dimmed, and the arena was bathed in crimson and gold. On the screen appeared a video package of the shadowy figure seen in the Raw intro. This time, the individual was revealed. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Roman and Solo's cousin and WWE's most iconic star. The live audience erupted. The Rock, a global megastar and a legend in WWE, was making his first significant WWE appearance in years. At 39 years old, the star looked as imposing and charismatic as ever, decked out in Samoan tribal attire. "I've watched from afar as my family tore itself apart," The Rock began, his voice steady but emotional. "This is not what the NOI legacy is about. This is not what we fought for, bled for, and represented for decades. I'm here to set things right." The Rock declared that he would be the special enforcer for the tribal combat match, ensuring no outside interference and no underhanded tactics. "I'm not taking sides," he emphasized. "I'm taking responsibility." The highly anticipated SmackDown Tribal Combat match began with intensity. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa unleashed their fury on each other, delivering hard-hitting moves and brutal strikes that echoed through the arena. The Rock stood outside the ring, stoic and watchful, occasionally stepping in to enforce the rules. Midway through the match, the unexpected happened. Solo had Roman on the ropes, setting him up for a devastating Samoan spike. The crowd was on its feet, sensing the end of Roman's reign as tribal chief. But as Solo lunged forward, The Rock entered the ring and intercepted the move, shocking the audience. "What are you doing, USO?" Solo shouted, glaring at The Rock. The Rock's response was swift and brutal, a thunderous rock bottom on Solo Sikoa. The arena erupted in boos and cheers as Roman, stunned but opportunistic, capitalized with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns retained his title as tribal chief. After the match, The Rock raised Roman's hand in victory, but the celebration was short-lived. Paul Heyman looked visibly conflicted, while Solo Sikoa stared daggers at his cousin. The Usos, who had been watching from backstage, stormed the ring, confronting The Rock. "This isn't about family. This is about you protecting your Hollywood cousin," USO yelled. The Rock, visibly emotional, fired back. "I didn't do this for Roman. I did this for our legacy. And if you don't understand that, maybe you're the ones who've lost your way." The tension exploded into a chaotic brawl, with The Rock and Roman standing together against Solo and the Usos. The Netflix Raw debut ended on a cliffhanger, leaving fans buzzing with questions. Was The Rock truly on Roman's side, or was this a calculated move to take control of the bloodline himself? The fallout from tribal combat had far-reaching implications. On Raw, Roman declared The Rock an official ally of the bloodline, dubbing him the enforcer of the NOI dynasty. But not everyone was convinced. Solo Sikoa vowed revenge, while the Usos hinted at aligning with outside forces to dethrone Roman and expose The Rock's ulterior motives. The introduction of The Rock into the bloodline storyline brought a fresh dynamic to WWE programming, bridging the gap between Hollywood and professional wrestling. It also set the stage for an eventual clash between Roman and The Rock, one that could headline WrestleMania and cement their family's legacy in WWE history. The tribal combat swerve wasn't just a shocking twist, it was a masterstroke in storytelling. The inclusion of The Rock added star power and emotional depth to the already compelling bloodline saga. For Roman Reigns, it was another chapter in his dominance. For Solo Sikoa and the Usos, it was a call to arms. And for The Rock, it was a chance to reconnect with his roots and leave a lasting mark on WWE. As the credits rolled on WWE's Netflix debut, one thing was clear: the NOI legacy was far from over. The battle for control of the bloodline had only just begun.